Hello and welcome to Love and Film. My name is Jamie and thanks for tuning in again to the show. Today's guest I cannot wait to talk to, okay? His name is Trevor Newlin. Now Trevor, he's quite the star in the movie business the past 2 years. Last year we caught him in Alien Romulus, and in terms of his character, he was the alien. He played as Xenomorph. Trevor is a special type of actor. He portrays these monsters in such a special way. So I'm excited to talk to Trevor about, the movie business, what it's like working in a movie like Alien Romulus with Fede Alvarez and Kaylee Spenny. Most recently, this summer, he portrayed Mr. Handsome in Superman by James Gunn. And James Gunn only put up a post the other day talking about how Mr. Handsome was his favorite character in the whole movie. So without further ado, let's get talking to Trevor. Now, Trevor Newlin, thank you so much for coming on to the show. I mean, I'm a fan of a lot of the things you've been in. I mean, number one, Alien. I'm a massive Alien super fan. I mean, down from the original Ridley Scott movie up to the video games like Alien Isolation. You're also in, most recently, Superman as Mr. Handsome. Look, the most popular movie of the year. But before we get into all of that, I just want to get to know you a little bit about, how you got into the business. So how did you get into show business?
Yeah, so I grew up in Texas and from a theater background originally, and I always wanted to get into voiceover and radio. So when I graduated from community college back in Texas, I was like, where else do you go but Los Angeles? Because that's the place to be, right? So I moved out here and I went to film school, really with a focus on voiceover, really wanted to do that. I graduated film school, got a job in radio, started working in that world. Wasn't on air yet, but was trying to get to that direction. Then COVID hit. I lost that job, and kind of the way I got into what I do now is completely by accident. I never planned to go this route, but my last semester of college, I had this teacher named Phil Kaufman, and he was like, "Oh, you have a very similar build to Doug Jones." And I was like, Doug Jones, like I feel like I know that name. And then of course I know, Doug's work, Pan's Labyrinth, Shape of Water, Hellboy, all those type of things, right? So I reached out to Doug and he was very gracious, met up with me, and I was kind of like, how do you get into this type of world? And he kind of just told me, get your face out there, do things, get in front of makeup artists. So I did Halloween Horror Nights, which is in Universal Studios Hollywood, also in
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Orlando. Yeah, all over the world as well. I'm pretty sure they have it all over the world. And I met some makeup artists there, and they were like, "Oh, you have a really cool build for creature stuff." And I was like, "That's awesome." I had no plan of doing that type of thing. And I guess you could say my big break, as people call it, came when I was doing central casting, which is background acting here in the States. And I got a job that was for a creature suit, and it was like if you fit the suit, you can do the job. And the job was for season 2 of Mandalorian.
No way.
Yeah, so that was with Legacy Effects, who did Superman as well, and it was
Yeah.
for a Wookiee. It was for a Wookiee suit. So I wore a Wookiee suit, and I met Tracy, Tamara, and Dawn, and Vicky, who were took care of me on that show. They got my information, and then 3 years later, funny enough, you know how the world works. I was at Universal Studios hanging out. I get a phone call from Alan, who is one of the heads of Legacy, and he's like, "Hey, we have this commercial. It shoots tomorrow. Are you free?" And that ended up being a national commercial for Amazon for a Yeti for the U.S. and international as well. And from that, I was put up for Alien, and then from that, I met Alec Gillis, who put me up for Smile, and then they put me up for Superman, and that's kind of how I
Dude.
got to where I'm at now. Yeah, it's been
Man,
crazy.
that that
I'm
that that's
super
not
grateful.
normal. Like that's not normal in the best possible way. Like I mean, even going back to Mandalorian, are you a Star Wars fan? I'm a Star Wars
Yes.
freak. Like I love it.
Oh
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
I mean, getting to play a Wookiee, that's like a bucket list item,
Yeah,
right?
and it was a Wookiee suit from, I believe it was from one of the Solo films, so it was a screen used suit too, which was really
Oh,
cool.
cool. Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
What was that experience like?
Oh, I mean, it was incredible. We shot it down in Manhattan Beach, and they built the practical sets, of course, right? So the
Yeah,
first
yeah,
day I
yeah.
walk on set, and you see Mando, you see Carl Weathers, who passed away a couple years
Yeah.
ago, and he was directing that episode actually. And then, of course, the biggest thing is Grogu, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Baby
yeah.
Yoda, as people call them before
He's
he
an
had his name.
actual animatronic, right?
Yes, built by Legacy Effects. Yeah, and I
Wow.
remember because season 2 was shooting before season 1 even came out. So Grogu wasn't known to the world yet. So I had to hold on to the secret of knowing about the little baby for over a year before the
Did
internet.
you have a feeling that it was gonna be something really really special? Because Grogu was like not a normal thing. I mean, it's everywhere. T-shirts, mugs, everyone
Oh
knows
yeah,
him. You
yeah.
knew at the time.
Yeah, I had. I mean, when I saw him, I was like, first off, he's adorable. And
Yeah.
second, I was like, yeah, he's gonna be big. He's gonna be big, and he was very big, and still is. I mean, you know, you look at what 3 seasons of Mando. You've got Mando and Grogu, the film coming out next year in theaters.
Hmm.
So yeah.
And getting back to Carl Weathers, I'm a huge Apollo Creed fan. I mean, did
Mm.
you meet him? Did he give you any direction?
Yes.
Oh
Yeah,
man, whoa.
I got to have a we were in between takes one time and he was sitting there on one of his on his iPad looking at stuff because like I said he directed the episode and we got to have a good like 10-minute conversation with Grogu sitting on the table next to him because they were working on Grogu and you know adjusting some things. So it was like, man, here I am in a Wookiee suit talking to Carl Weathers, who's a legend. And then there's Grogu sitting on the table right there inside of this little cantina area on a Star Wars set. I was like, oh, and then you know met John Favreau, which is you know
Yeah,
crazy,
I
and
mean the father of the MCU. I mean that scenario sitting next to Carl Weathers and Grogu just sounds like such a fever dream. Like,
yeah,
like I believe you 100%. But if someone like I was talking to just randomly brought it up, I was like, sure that happened, man. But I mean that's I mean that's so cool, man. I mean John Favreau as well. What a legend in movies.
yeah,
I mean it's incredible. I mean, your
yeah.
career so far, dude, it's just it's so surreal and so interesting to me, just as an outsider. I mean, getting onto Alien Romulus, I mean, that's a very very different take on Alien, while also bringing in a lot of elements from different types of alien things. I see the xenomorphs behind you there, and
Yeah.
that version of Alien, I heard from interviews that the director Fede Alvarez was taking some inspiration from like the Alien Isolation video game, which
Oh
I'm a
yeah.
super fan of that game. I mean, when you got the role, did Fede give you any sort of direction on what this xenomorph and vibe was going to be?
Yeah, so it's interesting because going in, I just kind of tried to do as much research as I possibly could. So, you know, I looked at Badejo, I looked at Tom Woodruff Jr., all the guys in the suits, right? I looked at Goran, who was in Covenant, and then like you mentioned, Alien Isolation, which I just finished for the first time recently. Phenomenal game.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, incredible, incredible. But I did do a lot of research on Stompy, so I watched videos behind the scenes of how the AI works, and I really wanted to try to bring, of course, I'm going to bring my own movement to it because I move unlike anybody else, same as anybody else moves their same way, right? But I also wanted to bring some of those elements of what made the Xenomorph so captivating, you know, back in Alien and Aliens and Alien 3 and you know and Resurrection and so on and so forth, right? But yeah, so the biggest thing that Fede told me is originally it was going to be a lot more on two legs, on set, and that kind of changed to more of a almost like the dog alien in three.
Yeah.
It was a lot more crawling, which you if you've seen the film, you see that as well, right?
Many times, many times.
Yeah, so there was a lot of kind of just on the fly changes because I was training most of my training to be on 2 feet. So I was doing a lot of ballet exercises to make sure you know I was strong in my calves and my ankles and everything and things like that. And then we got out there, which is how the film industry works, right? We get out there, we're on set, and Fede's like, I think I want the xenomorph to crawl more. And so here we are, you know, with the legacy guys workshopping this in the middle of outside, you know, inside the soundstage, but outside the set. And, you know, they're shooting videos of me crawling and you know, sending it to Fede and Fede's coming over and looking at it. But yeah, so I think that was for sure it like I said, the industry kind of when you're on a set, things can change in an instant. And that did because that was never the original direction that he was going to go, I think, with the movement, but he liked the movement so much that he used a lot of it, and I'm forever grateful because I got to shoot a lot of really cool stuff because of it. So, yeah, it was he one of his biggest notes was he kind of wanted it to be very much in the first film. It's very much a stalking type,
Yeah.
as opposed to kind of just being all up in your face. Because what makes the alien, what makes any creature scary in a film, right? It's when you see it less, right? The less you see it, this because you're always thinking, oh, where is it? Is it lurking over here? Is it lurking over there? Right? And so it was a lot more. He wanted it to kind of be like a cat, almost like stalking its prey, right?
Oh, okay, yeah.
So that's kind of the notes that was he was giving me throughout the shoot.
I mean, it was just such a cool take on Alien, and as I said, as a fan of like all of the Alien movies, even the ones that people don't like, I love all of them, you know. it was so interesting to see that take on the Xenomorph. I mean, I was watching the behind the scenes documentary on Romulus as well, and I mean, wow, some kind of crazy process to get this going. I mean, you're crossing these actors like Katie Spenny and stuff like that. I mean, what was it like being on set when you were first in the Xenomorph costume and in a scene? Like, were you right up next to these actors, like trying to be the Xenomorph?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think of anybody, funny enough, the person I worked with most was Isabella Merced, who
Yeah.
and Superman is Hawk Girl. So we
I was
kind of had a
about
little
to ask, it's a little bit of a weird reunion.
yeah, had a little reunion there. Yeah, it's funny. Just an aside, but we were at the Romulus premiere at the after party, and I ran into Isabella, and I was saying, "Oh, we worked on something else recently together." And she was like, "Oh, you were Mr. Handsome, weren't you?" And Superman, I was like, "Yeah." She's like, "I knew it. I knew it was you." So that was fun. But no, I mean, Kaylee, David, Archie, Spike, all of them. I mean, of the cast, I worked with Kaylee and Isabella the most, I would say, because everybody else kind of died pretty early
Yeah.
on as the film. That was another weird thing about that film is like once people died, they just left. So by the end of the film, it's Robert who's the offspring, Kaylee, myself, and David and Isabella are the only ones there. When at first, you had a whole crew, right? But no, Kaylee was incredible to work with. Isabella was fantastic, super professional. I'm just so excited to see all of their careers kind of because of Romulus. I mean, they had done stuff before Romulus, but Romulus kind of gave them that boost. Like, look at Isabella. She's in Last of Us. She's in Superman. I mean, she's then you got Kaylee, who's going to be in the new Knives Out film, and she was in Civil
And
War.
Priscilla,
And Priscilla, exactly.
I mean,
So
huge things.
yeah, so it's really cool to see that that film kind of gave them a boost too in their careers as well. I think all of them for sure were just amazing people to work with. I had a blast, and Kaylee did a lot of her own stunts, which I have major respect for. Like the scene when she's in the elevator shaft and she's dropping back, with Scorchy coming after her, whatever, and David's or I always called them by their actor name, not their character name. But Andy is hanging on, and he shoots it and get away from her. But she was, I mean, probably for at least an hour and a half, at least. They built a horizontal set of that elevator shaft, and they're just pulling her full speed with a camera following her as fast as it can, right? And she's just doing that over and over and over and over again. And I had so much respect for her because I was like, getting thrown at that speed and moving at that speed and maintaining a happy face and a professional like that takes a lot. So I just had so much respect for her on that project for sure.
Man, that's so cool. I can't imagine. I mean, as a fan of the movies and movies in general, it just sounds, it's genuinely so interesting to hear how these things are made. I mean, it is my first time talking to somebody who was actually been a xenomorph in a movie. I've always been curious I mean, the actors who've played this iconic movie villain. When walking around, is it very hard to see? Do you walk into things? Were you walking into like walls and stuff?
Yeah, so thankfully Legacy Effects, they kind of lead. Well, I never put the head on when I was offset. So that was one of those things. But yeah, once you're on set and you're in the head, you have to be led around because the only way I ever can really see is because I kind of looked out of the mouth. So if the mouth wasn't open, then there was no vision, right? But yeah, so most of the time I was being I was being led around, and it's the classic. You put your hands out in front of you like this, and they grab onto your hands and they just nicely take you through, like they're leading you through somewhere. But yeah, for the most part, everything I've worn to this point, the vision has not been the best. But that's why, it's great to have a team like Legacy or Alec Gillis's team to help you get around because with the Xeno, there's the giant tail. And the tail wasn't in every single shot, but if it was hooked onto me. And so if I had to go somewhere, I had to have a whole train of people basically. So, somebody's holding the head, somebody's helping me get somewhere, and then somebody's behind me with the tail on their back, right? So one of the funniest moments is I had to go to the bathroom one time because you do have to go to the bathroom. And it was one of those, we walked out of the soundstage and into one of those like kind of little trailer type things where they have a bunch of bathrooms. And so, somebody was at the entrance holding my tail while I was all the way over the other side, but the tail was taking up the whole bathroom, and people were finding that quite comical.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say so. If you're a fan of Love of Film and you're watching us here on YouTube, please subscribe. I mean, it would really help us. I mean, if you like our stuff, we post reels all the time on Instagram, on TikTok, and please leave a review. Reviews do great for us. Helps us make more of these videos on Apple Podcast reviews. That's That's where the magic happens. So if you have time and want to give your thoughts, it doesn't have to be positive too. If you don't like what I'm doing, you can write that down. You can get angry. Yeah, leave a review. You can help us directly by signing up to our Patreon. The links are in the bio. I mean, hey, a little goes a long way. So if you want to do that, I really appreciate it. I mean, and getting back to what you said a second ago too, I mean, about being reunited with Isabella Marcet on Superman, that is such a interesting character to play. I saw James Gunn's post where he was talking about Mr. Handsome being his favorite character in Superman, which is quite an interesting, cool thing. And he was talking about how Mr. Handsome was Lex's project. He grew when he was 12 out of a petri dish, and he's just a really, really interesting thing. How did you get the role of Mr. Handsome? Like, how did this come about?
Honestly, kind of the same thing with Romulus. They just told me I ran into Legacy at one point, and they're like, "Hey, we're putting you up for Superman." And the thing is, with when you work with the shops, the special effects shops, they have a lot of casting power in regards to these type of jobs because especially with James, like Legacy has worked with James with with Avengers because with the Guardians being in there, also Guardians of the Galaxy, of course. So Legacy has worked with James Gunn for a very, very long time. So when they come with somebody towards him, I'm sure that does help a lot. But yeah, honestly, it was just a matter of, hey, we were going to put you up for this role, and I was like, awesome. And then they said yes, and away I went to Atlanta.
Yeah, man. I mean,
after some fittings, of course.
Yeah, isn't that what they say? I'm from Ireland, so I hear it's always Hotlanta. It's like it's very, very warm in Atlanta.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, were you cooled down at all when you were in the costume? Was the set okay for you, or was it very
hot?
Hot?
Honestly, the stages were super, super nice and cool. Of anything I've worn, Mr. Handsome is the easiest thing I've worn for sure because the suit is just a basically bodysuit, so it's built onto my actual proportions. And then the head is very similar to the shape of my head, so it's just a little bit taller, of course, because I don't have that giant cranium on top. But that head it was super light, super movable because there was two heads. So there's they call it the hero head. So the hero head is the head you see where there's no little like basically mask that I had to cover my eyes. So that's the one that they get those close-up shots like in the film when you see that close-up of me operating. That's that head because they want to make sure it's very seamless. It makes it easier for visual effects to go in and clean anything up if they need to. And then there was ones where I would walk around. There was a second head that had like a little magnetic piece, and that could be pulled out in between sets so I could see. But otherwise, all it had was just a bunch of little pinholes throughout it. So my vision was not the best, but I at least could see where my feet were, which was good because I needed to at some points because I was, they didn't show as much of me moving around in the final cut of the film, but I did walk around a lot outside of, what you see in the film. So it was good to have that second head for those purposes.
I'd say so. And I mean, when you first got suited up and you were doing these scenes in this Bucky universe, did James come up to you and explain the character to you that this was a character grown by Lex Luthor when he was 12? It's the only character that Lex sort of has a sentiment for. What did he talk about this type of thing?
Yeah, so he did give me that information as we went along, but I think it was kind of one of those things where it just grew naturally too, because it is an original character of the DCU, like that is known. And so there was a lot of kind of just exploration of the character. And I think that Mr. Handsome definitely grew more every time that I was on set as just a character, because it's like, okay, how does he walk? How does he move? So you didn't see any of the walking, of course, in the film, but it's like, I had to, with Legacy and with James, I had to come up with that. Like, how would this character move? How would he interact? Like, what's my goals? What do I want? Right? Because there's not a lot to him yet, right? So it's a more so of figuring out, okay, who is Mr. Handsome, right? And I think the internet is still asking that question. And the only one that really knows that true answer is James Gunn himself, right? So that's why I always say if anybody asks me a question, I'm like, ask James, right? Because he with him and Legacy Effects together created Mr. Handsome. But yeah, I would say the more and more that I was on set, the more that, I think Mr. Handsome kind of grew a personality and of what he is. I mean, there's so many things, as is with any film that we shot that didn't make the final cut that, I mean, Lex and I had a little dance party at one time. That was fun.
Well, I
Yeah,
really hope we get to see this, man. James Gunn,
I
if
do
you're
too.
watching,
I do
for
too.
some
It was
just some deleted scenes. Come on, man.
Yeah, it was fun. Like there was one of the times when we were leaving on the platform and James wanted Lex to dance and then he told hey he was like Mr. Handsome dance and so I started dancing at the controls and we drove off into the Pocket Universe. So there was a bunch of just and that's the thing about James. He's fantastic at comedy and humor and timing and stuff and he would just throw things in left and right. And Nick, of course, coming from, he's got comedy in his background. He's hilarious. Oh my gosh. Nick is such a funny guy. But it was just so cool to watch Nick and David and Anthony play off, especially Nick and David, because they have all those scenes together and Anthony's more sitting, Metamorpho's sitting and hanging out. But it was so fun to watch those two just kind of go back and forth and with quips and things like that. And I mean, like I said, there's so many like we played dice at one point in between takes. Like we were a little family up on that platform. Like David, Anthony, Nick, and I, like we were all hanging out. Just we would play little like theater games in between takes sometimes because like I think, and many people have said this in interviews that they've done, but James's sets are just they move super well. Like they're so well put together, but they're also a lot of fun in a very light environment, which is a really great thing for an actor because it allows you to do, I think, the best work you can. Because yes, there is the stress, of course, of getting something done, which that's just Hollywood, but the way that James runs his sets, they're just really everyone's like I've told everybody this that I've talked to. Everybody that worked on that set seemed like they wanted to be there, and that's really cool to see.
Yeah, I mean that's what matters is as in the vibe being right, as in people are doing these, making a movie for the right reasons. And what a good movie it turned out to be, and especially that scene in the Pocket Universe where Superman is locked up and he's beside Metamorpho, and you're there, and Dinesh's character there, Dinesh Tyagaragan, was actually on our
Yeah.
show the other day there, and he was telling me about the similar scene, how interesting it was to just be in a scene with Superman and Lex Luthor. Were you a Superman fan growing up? Like was this a crazy thing to see an actual movie Superman in a scene, let alone playing dice with him?
Yeah. So I'll be honest. Ultimately, I was on the DC side. I was Batman. I always knew who Superman was, but
Me too, man. Me
my
too.
main my main character is Spider-Man, and I think a lot of kids will say Spider-Man. So Spider-Man's always been my number one
Yeah.
in the superhero world. But for me, it was really cool. I've told people this too, but my first day on set, I was in my tent, and David, first off, so excited for him, so happy for him because he is such a sweet, genuine human being, and I'm so glad that everybody loves not just the film, but loves him as Superman because he's fantastic. But I was in my tent, and all of a sudden, the doors of my tent open up, and there's David standing there. He's like, "Hi, I'm David," and he's in the full Superman suit.
No
So this is my
way.
first
Wow.
first time seeing the suit, right? And no one else has seen the suit at this point besides the people on the set. Like nobody online, none of that's come out. And then I'm just like, wow, okay, that's Superman. That's crazy. But also the fact that he took the time to come over to because compared to him, like I'm a super minor character. So for him to take the time to walk over and like introduce himself to me, and Nick did the same thing, and Anthony did the same thing. But it's just like that was such a really cool experience because it's like here's Superman. Here's the guy playing Superman who took the time out of his busy day of like whether it's running lines or whatever else is going on because I can't even imagine the stress and the amount of the amount of things that are on your mind becoming that character, right? To come over and say hello to me was just a really really like special experience, and to do it in the full suit was like what? That's crazy. But yeah,
Yeah.
no, and the same thing with Nick. Like Nick and I became good set buddies, and we would talk about our weekends and what we got up to and everything. And they were all staying in the same area so I would run into Anthony all the time, off Metamorpho, Anthony offset all the time at the coffee shops and stuff. But yeah, everybody, all three of them, and then of course James, but all three of them were just so much fun to work with and just so welcoming to me because looking at who they are in the film and what their careers have been, and for me to come in and just be welcomed by three people in the industry that are doing really amazing work and have been for a number of years was a really just special moment for me to be treated in that way by all of them, and James too, of course.
Yeah.
But yeah, super super cool.
That's incredible, man. And I really, really hope to see more Mr. Handsome with Lex Luthor in the future because I'm just fascinated by that little tagline where he grew up in a petri dish. It's like, what do you mean? Like, we need to see what this is all about. And like, I hope to see it. It's Superman 2 or whatever the next DC project would be, Supergirl. I want to see more Mr. Handsome, man. And before we get off the subject, is there truth that there's a fan club?
Yes, so Isabella actually told me about this fan club while we were at the Romulus after party. She was like, "Yeah, there's stickers that were made of you that they put all over the place." And I was like, "What?" And then I found out that once James posted that picture of the sticker, I had no idea it actually was because of it was a fan club. I just knew there were stickers. I didn't know that they were stickers for a fan club, but I want to be a part of that fan club. Like that's cool. Like I want that on a shirt. I
Man,
want it this
you
like
you be the leader of the fan club. You are Mr. Handsome.
I don't know. Yeah, but Sarah might be the leader of the fan club. You know, Eve. She might be. She might
That's
have to.
true.
She kind of claimed it already too. So I can't. I started the fan club I guess because I'm Mr. Handsome,
You're the
but like
character. Yeah.
she's the captain. Like she's the leader of the fan club for sure. I'll give her that title because she claimed it already and she deserves it. But oh my gosh, the selfies with her too. Oh my gosh, what a fun moment. Because yeah, she did take all those selfies that you see in the film, and
Oh, it
we
was so funny.
we had the day because I was so what people don't know is when we were taking those selfies, I was covered in a bunch of slime. So when she's sitting on my lap in that one photo, she is when she gets up, she is just absolutely covered in slime. So that was the last thing she did on
Wait,
that
the one
day.
where she's leaning over and she's like taking a selfie like this.
Yep.
You were just covered in slime.
Yep. So she sat
Man,
down on me and was just, and then she put the sunglasses on me, she put the scarf on me. I held her bag in one of the pictures. But yeah, so that was the last thing she did that day because after she took those photos, her costume wasn't really up to Eve's standards at that point.
yeah, yeah, I'd say so, man. And I want to be respectful of your time, Trevor. I mean, I want to leave the interview today asking you a question. It might be a little bit of a tough one, but has there been, say, a piece of advice you've gotten on set, or maybe something you learned in your experience in these super cool projects that you take on forward in your acting that maybe somebody who was like you when you started could really learn from or take on board?
Mm. I think the biggest thing I've learned, and it doesn't, it kind of, I mean, I think it applies to the whole industry in general. Doug Jones told me one time because I was dealing with something that was just really stressing me out about a job I was doing, and he told me, he said it's show business. He said first you do the show, so you go out there, you do your work, you show what you can do, and then you handle the business side after. So, all the contract stuff, all the stuff that is not the fun stuff to deal with. The art is the fun part, the other stuff is not. And since then, like, because I do a lot of, I just do a lot of things, it's like I've really taken that to heart because it is kind of true, right? Like we're brought on to do the job and all this other stuff that's very easy to get on your mind about the business side and contracts and negotiations and all that. It can be really stressful. It can be super, super stressful. So I think for me, that's one of the biggest things that I've held on to and kept throughout my whole career. And then otherwise, I think it was just more so Doug saying about, just get your face. As funny as it, I mean, it's not, it is advice in a way, but it's just get your face out there, right? Make your own stuff, do your own thing because especially in the industry we live in now, it's like there's so many avenues to be able to put your own stuff out there and for people to see it because platforms are, TikTok, Instagram, whatever, Twitter, Blue Sky, whatever the platform is, right? There's Threads, Facebook, if you still use that. There's so many avenues to put your content out there that people can see that you don't have to have a multi-million dollar budget to make something these days. So you can make a small indie project that could massively take off. And I think we're seeing that a lot too in the industry right now is that indie films are kind of having a resurgence because and the thing is people are liking them and they're making money so they're making more and I think that's really exciting because I feel like a lot of those directors have a lot of really cool stuff to say that maybe they wouldn't have been able to say at that scale even a couple years ago. So but yeah, I think the biggest piece of advice is the show business part because that I still hold on to that and I still take that through. And it makes the jobs like not the job itself. The job itself is fun. Like I have a blast. I love what I do. But the logistical side of the job, it makes it a lot less stressful on me. And I think that's allows my performances to be a lot, when you're not stressed, this is in the workplace in general, when you're not stressed, when you're able to relax, you do a lot better work. So I think that's the thing that I've held on to, that Doug told me a couple years ago, and I've always held on to that. And I try to pass on whatever I can that he's told me to other people that reach out, which is such an honor and a cool thing, is that I've been reached out to by a lot of people that want to do what I do. And it's like, I was in that same spot like 3 years ago. So it's, it's such an honor and really cool thing to be in that world now, where it's like, oh, people are reaching out to me because I'm doing things. And, I did the same thing to Doug because I just wanted to see how to get started. And so I hope I can people always say, and this is the biggest compliment I could possibly ever receive, is like, you are, you're the next Doug Jones. And I'm like, man, if I could have anywhere close to the career of what Dougie had and has and is having, right, I would be, that'd be incredible. But yeah, such a cool world. It really is. And it's such a small world. And I love that, directors like Fede and Parker Finn and James Gunn love their practical effects, because they bring so much more to a film. And I think audiences just love it too as well. So it's just really cool. And I'm really grateful to everybody I've worked with. And yeah, just, do the show and handle the business later.
Trevor, man, you are the next Doug Jones, man. I mean, it's solid advice. And to anybody who was in your position a couple of years ago and wants to do what you do, listen to what Trevor said. It's, man, honestly, just to get you to meet you here today and talk to you about this, job of yours, which, by the way, is the coolest job in the world. It's pretty amazing. Meant a lot to me, man. I learned a lot, and it was genuinely interesting to hear about this stuff. So Trevor, thanks so much for coming on to Love and Film, and I look forward to seeing you in more things soon. Or maybe we won't recognize you because you're going to be some new crazy monster, and that's what we hope as well, man. I'm excited to see what the next monster is.
Thank you so much, Jamie. Yeah, you never know. You never know where I'm going to pop up next. But I appreciate you taking the time and reaching out. But yeah, this has been a blast. I really appreciate it.
Oh, thanks, man. Me too. All right, nice to meet you, Trevor. See you now. Have a good day. When I did my preparation for Trevor, I did not know he was a Wookiee in Mandalorian. He spoke about how he was directed by Carl Weathers, Apollo Creed, and one of his first days on set, he was sitting as a Wookiee on a table with Carl Weathers on an iPad holding Grogu. And this was before the world knew who Grogu was. It was just, I said it to Trevor, I was like, man, this doesn't sound real. It sounds like you made this up. But I believe you. I'm a huge Carl Weathers guy, so getting to talk to someone who knew Apollo Creed, that's pretty cool. And other than that, he's also a Xenomorph. The guy completed Alien Isolation himself, so he's a true fan. Talking to Fede about how his Xenomorph was like a mix of multiple Xenomorphs, the way it was kind of dog-like, a lot of crawling going on. It was just genuinely, as a fan of these movies, I love Star Wars, I love Alien, I love Superman. Smile 2 he was in was great too. It's just, I can't believe I get to talk to this guy. It's genuinely means a lot to me that Trevor sat down and spoke about what it's like to be in his shoes and what it's like to be playing dice with David Corenswet and Nick Hoult. But yeah, man, Trevor Newlin was one of my favorite guests. He was just so down to earth, this guy.
My favorite kind of part that I haven't watched the full interview with yourself, but like, he talks about he was with Carl Weathers on The Mandalorian. Yeah, of course, rest in peace. That must have been like the coolest thing ever to be, because I didn't even realize he directed an episode of The Mandalorian, and he has baby Grogu, in his hands. That must have been cool. Carl Weathers, he was supposed to be in Happy Gilmore 2 there, but
it's sad, man. Carl Weathers, I'm a huge Apollo Creed fan, and it's a shame. I saw Happy Gilmore 2. I know you haven't, so I won't.
I know, I've seen it.
You saw it? Oh, okay. Well, I don't think the cameraman has seen it, so I won't give it away. It's only come out, so I don't want to spoil it on people. But you could tell that if Carl was in it, it would have been much better.
Yeah, like we posted like a video there of Sandler was basically saying that totally would have had Carl Weathers in the in the film for like I don't know, maybe visions or something like that, because the character did die in the first movie. So yeah, whatever. But no, rest in peace. That must have been a cool experience though for Trevor. I'm just fascinated, to be honest. Like Alien Romulus, like that movie was like a complete return to form, I think, for Alien. Now, it's not like everyone's favorite film, but return to practical effects was pretty. I don't know how much they used it in the prequel films.
Look,
I can't
no,
remember.
barely any in those Alien Covenant or Prometheus and stuff. But the big issue with Alien movies now, and I know there's a new TV show coming out as well called Alien Earth, but their big problem is that they're not making Alien Isolation into a movie. I mean, or a TV
or
show.
give us an actual faithful sequel to the game.
Best story in the history of the entire franchise, and you're not rolling with it. It doesn't make any sense.
Well, no, look, if they can make more films like Romulus, you never know. Bring Trevor back again.
Yeah. Trevor's brilliant. I'd love to see Trevor as the Xenomorph.
Yeah, and then I had no idea until after I seen Superman that he was Mr. Handsome. Because I was watching it and I was like, oh my god, we've seen, thanks to Warner Brothers Ireland again for inviting us, but we were at the Irish premiere and me and Jamie looked at each other and we seen him on screen. We're like, what is that creature?
He's terrifying.
Yeah, and of course, same guy played,
Trevor's cool,
Xenomorph.
man. I mean, his day job sounds fascinating. This dude was like, I was just sitting there playing dice with David Corenswet and Nicholas Hoult, and it was cool to hear. I'm sure you saw in the interview, Chris, where David and Nicholas came up to Trevor on his first day and shook his hand and were like, "Hey, I'm David, I'm Superman. And, I am Nicholas, I'm Lex Luthor." It's like
you don't get that with a lot of actors.
They're
not commonplace,
authentic,
Like because he's obviously not a central part of the movie. A lot of actors the top billed cast wouldn't even acknowledge a side character like that, but David
and apparently Isabella Merced, a little bit of a reunion there from Alien Romulus. She was in that movie too.
Oh, she's great.
She went up to Trevor and was like, "You're Mr. Handsome."
Quick question for you, Jamie.
Yeah.
If there's any alien creature out of any horror film or whatever, what would be your favorite? You got Creature from Black Lagoon.
Okay.
You have plenty of that's one of my favorites.
The
Thing.
In terms of like it just has to be alien though.
Yeah, it could be The Fly. Okay. No, not to be an alien. Just has to be a movie monster.
Movie monster.
Yeah, and obviously probably practical effects is.
Well, it has to be the Xenomorph from the first Alien. And the reason is you barely see him. And when you do see him, there was nothing like the Xenomorph. The perfect organism. It is terrifying, and to this day he's on the big screen and he's still scary. The Xenomorph to me is the definitive movie monster.
Yeah, no, it had quite the presence for a 70s film. It's probably the scariest Alien still today is that first one. Of course, Aliens is a bit more of an action kind of adventure. But yeah, no, absolutely just brilliant. What I loved recently, I'm gonna kind of not controversial, but it's kind of a hot take. Movie monster-ish. Have you seen The Substance with? With Demi Moore? She turns into this giant creature after taking the substance, too much or abusing it a little bit. Her and Margaret Qualley, absolutely disgusting. Not scary in the sense of I'm gonna shit my pants. Scary in the sense of this is disgusting, and of course you get that. Spoilers, you get that big scene in the I don't know, it's like a theater where it's squashing blood all over the hall, and that was absolutely gross. So that's recently, I wouldn't be able to pin it down, but recently that's definitely one of the favorite movie monsters. I'm gonna pivot a little bit. New segment in Love of Film is just movie news, general movie news. So did you know that pre-orders for the IMAX 70mm screening of The Odyssey are already sold out in nearly all the participating locations? They released pre-sale tickets on to 26 cinemas on July 17th, exactly a year before the film is even out. I love Nolan, but are you really going to be buying a ticket a year in advance? Would you do it?
No. There's no point, man. I don't understand that type of thing. Unless it's a cinema in Atlantis or something like that, I get it. But I mean, for a normal movie theater, I mean, just wait till a week after it comes out and go get a normal ticket.
You can see it in IMAX like very easily. Like you could buy a ticket before the movie comes out. That's what we'll be doing. Try get to the premiere or something. That'd be good. But like I love Nolan. He's probably one of my favorite directors. But that is just crazy. Like look, I get it. It's a probably the best way you could watch the film is in 70mm IMAX. But I love film, but I'm not that desperate because some of those tickets now are kind of gonna range to like nearly $1,000 on like eBay and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
So yeah, that's a crazy one.
Maybe if it was like a Spider-Man 4 with Tobey Maguire.
Yeah, no, our good friend as well, Luca Bizzolio, who we had on the show there a couple months back. He's actually in the backyard. Hopefully, our editor can pull overlay here of the lot in which they're shooting the Odyssey, and you can see that it's this big. Obviously, seen on like the seas or something like that. They have like a big like ship. Looks so cool. It reminds me of something.
To Luca, that's amazing.
No, I to be in like the spot he is in, just literally be able to look onto the set. I think his video went viral as well. Very, very cool. You looking forward to the Odyssey?
Yeah, I mean, look, Nolan movies are great, but at the same time, it's like I'm a different type of fan of movies and film. I mean, to me, as I mentioned as a joke a few minutes ago, I love these big movies like Oppenheimer and stuff. But to me, I mean, the thing I'd get most excited for in cinema is something like Spider-Man 4 with Tobey Maguire, and I won't pretend like that's not true.
All right, a quick tiny minute on Spider-Man's new suit. Spider-Man Brand New Day.
I love it. It's badass. You know, at first I was thinking the eyes are the same. Yeah. The eyes are the same as the original Tom Holland suit, but they're actually a little bit bigger. I don't know if you saw this. They're just a little bit bigger, which is great.
I wasn't expecting to see the full mask on display, but obviously I think a very smart marketing move on Marvel. They knew they were going to be spotted in Glasgow filming on a public street, closed off and all, but they knew people were going to get photos of the scenes, so of the shoot. So of course what they do, they post a teaser of the suit on the Instagram. And then obviously, you know, it's not a surprise to anyone. It's not like leaked from the set or anything. So it's a really strong marketing move. Tom Holland taking pictures with kids.
I mean, I like the web shooters. Yeah. The web shooters are huge, very comic-y. And I like that there's no nanotech. I mean, that was a big issue in those Marvel movies lately. Yeah. I mean, everybody had an invisible helmet that just appeared on their head for no reason. It's just lazy and it makes no sense. So it's great to see a real mask. But yeah, I'm really happy with that suit, man. It's very similar to the suit we saw at the end of No Way Home, but they sort of dialed down the shininess of the blue.
I kind of like the new suit better now. I was a bit annoyed they changed it so fast. Yeah. But a
big thanks to Trevor for coming on again. And if you want to see more Love It Film, where I'm talking to people who were in movies like Superman and Dexter Resurrection, hint hint for our next interview. No, it's not Michael C. Hall. I wish. But this actor is very, very good. Stay tuned on Love It Film. That will be airing very, very soon. So, I'm going to leave it back to you. See you later.